All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you a lesser known way to find email addresses without using Clay credits, as well as also without using multiple different data providers as well. So this will basically save you on either A, Clay credits, or B, save you a lot of money. This isn't the only way to find and enrich for email addresses for prospects, but this is a way that you can add to your arsenal or to your toolkit, which is a very cheap and easy way and is a lesser known way that people actually I don't think that many people know how to do this. But basically really simple. So you start off with your initial lead list here, and normally you might use something like Better Contact, Full Enrich, Prospeo, Lead Magic, Find Email, any of these kinds of tools to basically find email addresses. And Clay has their own inbuilt waterfalls and so on. A lot of times though, these tools can work on basically email permutations. So there are only so many ways that standard ways that you can write an email. Usually it'll be first name at domain, or it might be like first name dot last name, or a first letter of first name dot last name, and so on and so forth. So Clay's actually got a inbuilt feature, which is completely free to use, called Generate Email Permutations, and it will quite literally just spit out email permutations, like a comma separated list. I think there's about 16. So in this case, it'll be first name at, and then company name, company domain, and then it'll do first name dot last name at company domain, first name, last name at company domain, and so on and so forth, right? So it will basically spit out all of the permutations or all of the possible ways that you could write their email address. So now what you've got to do, now that you've done that, and again, like I said, this is completely free. All you need to do is quite literally just map in their full name and their company domain. One thing to just note is when you map in their full name, you might want to clean it, because sometimes the full name, especially if you pulled from LinkedIn, they might have like an emoji, they might have a little dash, or just something that just throws it off. So you just want to make sure it's completely clean. So it's just first name and their last name for best results. So if you have just their first name and their last name, you have their actual full name without any extra bits, then that'll give you the best results. And then you can also add in their company domain as well. So once you've done that, like I said, it will just spit out all of the potential permutations. I think in total there are 16 potential permutations. It'll spit those out. Then what we do is we put these into debounce. So debounce is incredibly cheap for verifications. You can see here it's like we can get 50,000 for $50. So it's incredibly cheap. And what it'll allow you to do, so from what I found, this is the only tool that allows you to put in a CSV, like a comma separated list, to be able to find email addresses for every single one. Because otherwise what you'll have to do is you'd have to come into here and you go, into permutations, and you've got all of this drop down data here. You could put it into take action on list and write it into a new table and then verify it like that. So that's one way of doing it. So you could write it to a new table. So there's multiple different things, but one way that like a simple way of doing it here is to just use debounce. So what you would do is you would just map in the data here. So you've got the comma separated list, and then you put only safe to send emails, and then you just make sure this toggle is on, and then you click save and run 10 rows, for example. And then you can see here the ones that have output that are valid, not valid, and so on. So because this is a more rogue way of finding email addresses, I always would put in like an extra step essentially here to validate the email. What I've done here is basically just shown you what this would look like if I was to run the same list of names and company domains through Prospeo and then validate those through Lead Magic, just so you can kind of see a comparison of basically what the difference is between what's been found by just using the email permutations here for free, or by using Prospeo here plus Lead Magic. So this one I've done with email permutations, debounce, and then Lead Magic, just to double check and see, like, make sure maybe by doing a sort of two-step verification here, whereas here this would be just a one-step verification. This is what Prospeo found, this is the valid ones. And if you look at them side by side, so I ran 50 rows, so it's not extensive by any means, but we do use this. We've started using this now for our emails, which has allowed us to actually cut down on the number of providers, because we usually will need, for example, we might use like Prospeo, and then we can run it like this, and then maybe one or two validation providers. If you wanted to, on top, you could also try validating the catch-alls with we use Enrichly for that as well. But yeah, you can kind of see side by side that Prospio has only really been able to find like a couple of extra ones here. So this one here, for whatever reason, this might just be because Dbounce wasn't able to validate the email, but you can see here first name dot last name at, at domain, and here it's here first name dot last name at domain. For some reason, Dbounce hasn't validated it, so it means that it can't go in to get double verified here. So with that in mind, I would probably just there's probably a way around it. I just haven't had a look into it enough just yet, but there's probably a way around to be able to do a comma separated list into and write it to another table and then put them in there and then basically validate them through there using a different tool that allows you to just do one at a time rather than Dbounce, which, like I said, is the only one that allows you to do a comma separated list. If you change this and try to do this in Lead Magic, it would only allow you to add one email at a time. So all in all, it's actually been pretty good. So yeah, you can kind of see here. Again, I made sure to validate from both sides here with Lead Magic, just so you could see some sort of side by side comparison. So if we have a look here and we just see side by side what the results are, we can go to. So if I do a filter here, basically for the valid email addresses, we've actually got 21. Obviously, this one's invalid, so we've got 20 out of 50 that have been validated from this generate email permutations, which again is completely for free. The only thing you have to pay for is the Dbounce validation, which is, it's incredibly cheap. Compared to if I filtered it for Prospio valid, that is not empty. Yeah, so 26. So 26, they're actually. So Prospio found 22. So there was basically a difference of 2 email addresses out of 50. So in an ideal world, you use obviously multiple steps. What I'm saying with this and what's good about this is it's completely free. You don't have to use Clay credits at all. You don't actually have to sign up to any email provider either. And what it's doing, like I said, is just basically generating a bunch of email permutations. And you can see side by side with the exact same list, Prospio, which costs you, for example, we have like 50,000 credits a month. It costs us like, I don't know, $350 or something. And from this exact same list, we've been able to find 22 valid email addresses in comparison to something that's completely for free, which has been able to find us 20 valid email addresses. So, and I'm not knocking Prospio at all. We use it. Actually, I think we're quite literally one of the top users within Clay for running this exact enrichment. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you like a different way that maybe some people don't necessarily know about, because I actually only discovered this a few weeks ago and we've been using it ever since. There might be some more steps and stuff that you want to add into here, but it is a very, very simple way of finding email addresses completely for free, like I said, which will save you tons on credits and on other maybe more expensive software fees and stuff. So I would recommend adding it with a second or a third provider just so you can have step by step, but that would at least save you probably hundreds of dollars a month by being able to cut one of the providers that you don't necessarily need out. So I hope this video helps. It's just I wanted to make it a quick one, but it's gone a little bit longer than I thought. Any questions or comments, leave them below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.